And we're live. Welcome back to another episode of To Be Announced.
TBA. We'll be
Yeah.
getting there.
So Day, right?
hmm
Your generation, respectfully,
Respectfully.
y'all don't believe nothing no more.
Can
You
you
know,
blame us?
yeah, but I feel like you guys threw out the baby with the bathwater.
You saw what we lived through. You see what we lived through on.
I did. But here's the thing. We gotta separate the wheat from the tare. We gotta have eyes of discernment. So
hmm
what is our topic today so they can know what we talking about? Why am
Today,
I
yeah, I feel like this is a good topic today because today we're talking about conspiracy theories, but everything that's a conspiracy theory or a theory kind of have a little bit of truth to it. So I feel like once we start diving into the topics today, there's a real connection between what people start to say on Twitter and the internet and what we see in real life. Do you not
okay?
agree?
Yes. But some stuff like it kind of I think it's a little controlled opposition to a certain degree, right?
Okay.
Like you said, it's a little bit of truth in everything, but then you'll have
Yeah.
the people out there that have a little bit of truth sprinkled in it, but it kind of throw you off because they'll jump off the deep end. And
Yeah.
then a lot of people just like again throw out the baby with the bathwater. You know what I'm saying? Like all of that's
Mhm.
trash. He had me, and sometimes a lot of people draw you in with a little bit of truth to take you off fucking the deep end. You know what I mean? So which um conspiracy theory in particular we gonna start this off with?
I think the craziest one I heard this year that I like a lot, and the only reason I like it is because it's so outlandish. And not only is out, of course, it's outlandish, but I feel like it's starting to reflect what we're seeing in terms of surveillance. Okay. I heard somebody
Hmm.
tell me that birds aren't real. Now, what, how do you feel about that? Like, what are your thoughts on the idea that the birds that are flying around in the sky might not be real?
All right, two things. I raise birds. You know that.
Oh,
I
you
raise I
did.
raise tiplet pigeons, so I actually see them hatch,
I
right?
seen I
But
seen it before. Yeah.
but just to give a little bit of grace to what conspiracy theories think, conspiracy theorists think when it comes to things like this. And it's not necessarily the focus on birds, right? But it's just surveillance in general, right? Different
Yeah.
drone technology. We've
Right.
seen different we've seen it in the movies, bugs flying with cameras and microphones and stuff like that. And we always have a saying, if we seen it in the movies, I mean, it's like we 10 times better than what they letting us see, right? We always say stuff like that. But one thing about the birds in general, right? When I dug a little bit into it, I want to talk about that is why I think it's not true. And not that I don't necessarily think that we are not capable of it, but the arguments that people making is kind of ridiculous, right? And I seen
I
somebody try to make sense of it a little bit. Let's watch this video as a icebreaker conversation starter, and we could
mhm.
jump right into it.
All right.
And they like to sit on power lines and charge up. Okay, so when you if you was to Google if you was to look up something like why do birds let's see what they gonna say on Google. Why do birds sit on power lines? If you go to Google, say this is how they be looking, right? We've seen this before, y'all, and never thought nothing of it. All them birds on the power line, you don't be thinking shit of it, like oh, but they sitting there actually charging up. All right, these are your government drones. They fly all over and they record surveillance. Now, let's look at why. If we Google why they sit on power lines, Google tells us. Let's see what they lying about. Google says because power lines are slightly warmer, these make an ideal perching place for birds to just sit and conserve their energy.
All right, look, I'm gonna kind of jump around and do a live reaction to this, right?
Uh huh.
Now let me talk a little bit about we're going to address the charging part. I think when we really dig into the charging part, it kind of debunks the whole
That makes
thing.
no sense to me. Right.
All right,
That
but
makes no
let
sense.
me. So when I raise birds, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you get your birds, right? A lot of people, um, you'll see people letting up doves and stuff at funerals and different things. They'll let the birds up, and they be like, "Oh, look at the birds!" Da, da, da. All the birds doing is
Uh-huh.
going
Yeah.
up.
Yep.
These are homing pigeons. They going up, they flying back to their coop or the pigeon loft, right? And you train these birds up after once they first start flying, you train them with food or whatever, and you take them further and further away, and they just fly back. You get to the point where you take them up to Pennsylvania, they'll fly back to Maryland. You'll take them to Virginia, they fly back in Maryland. And then like the
Mhm.
competition part of it is how long it takes them to get from A to B.
Right.
Secondly, like with tippler pigeons, it's like they like a cross of regular pigeons and what they call rollers. So they like tip when they fly. They tip side to side. And that's what I was
Mhm.
into. That's like a Baltimore thing, tipless
Yeah.
per se. And so long story short, you get some birds, right? You get them young. If you get them young, you probably could fly them, right? And if you buy them from somebody who was raising and was letting them up, if you fly these birds, what's going to happen is they're going to fly back to that coop that you bought them from. Like that's
Right.
the thing. You buy a bird, he get up, he go back, you go to the dude you bought him from, and you get him back, right? So what people typically do, they buy pairs, right? Pairs is a cock and a hen. They lay eggs or whatever. You take their young and what you call you set them out when they still got fur on them, right before they feathers start coming in. You
Okay.
put them in the AV. The AV is the screen part of the loft that you see where you can see the birds sitting in there.
Like
So
an
what
aviary.
happens? Yeah. So they get located like that. They
Okay.
look around. And you gotta remember they're not trying to escape because this is all they know.
Right.
They know you. They know they this is all they know. So you
Mm-hmm.
start setting them out, setting them on the roof or whatever, right? And they'll start jumping from like the loft to your roof. And sometimes if you live where there's power lines, they'll jump from the roof to the power lines. When they start flying a little bit, they'll fly in little circles, right? What we call
Okay.
pits when they fly together, right? And they'll land on the power lines, or they'll land along the lines of the roof. You call them in. Some people whistle. You'll see people shaking like food in a can, and all that is letting them know it's time to
Okay.
eat. It's time to eat. So you associate a sound with food. You shake it, they come dropping. It look like you calling them, but all they know is it's time to eat because you are all they know.
It's Pavlovian. Right.
Yeah.
That's
So
what you taught them. Right.
and with those birds, you take them further and further away, and you keep
Mm-hmm.
letting them up, and they just come back, letting them up, coming back. Land with tipplers, what you do with them is like competition flying by how long they fly, how long they stay in the air before they land. So
Mm-hmm.
it's just a whole lot of stuff that I personally know about pigeons, but I'm not going to sit here and say that I know that they real, but I'm not denying that it can be a surveillance pigeon. Now let's talk about surveillance and when it comes to like predator drones. We got cameras in outer space that could reflect light back from hundreds of millions of light years away and look
Yeah,
at
we
the
do.
beginning of the Big Bang, right? We
Yeah.
done mastered the technology, right, with the James Webb. We also got predator drones that look down and just satellites with cameras that look down on us and can see everything. Now, for us
Yeah.
hearing and everything else, that might be a different thing, but they can tap into everything around you. Technology is different. That's why we don't have those old televisions. Remember, when Barack was in office and what was it, clunker bunkers or something like
Yeah.
that when they was trading
And
in
it was
all the old
and it
cars
was
and
doing
giving
talk
people
track.
rebates exactly, and
Mhm.
that was right. That was all in the effort to get you into vehicles they could surveil,
Mhm.
track, or even shut down if they need to.
Yep.
Because you couldn't do that with the older cars because they wasn't computers like the
You can
newer
do that
cars.
with a lot of EVs.
That's what I'm saying.
Yep.
Exactly. So now it's like, is a pigeon necessary? The
Okay, so I hear what you're saying, and I love the history and the appreciation for all the pigeons out there. Thank you, pigeons, for all the hard work
yeah,
you've done. But I think as I think the idea of pigeons not being real and being used as a surveillance technique, it's like a dog whistle. Because if you think about the what we're moving into with the government doing contracts with companies like Palantir, the name of the game is surveillance. That's what the government is kind of moving to. So I think this idea that birds not being real and being used to surveil us is just like a spark in what's really actually happening. Just like you said with the drone surveillance and people being able to be in these EVs and trackable cars. It's like the first step. This was just like the first idea that we had in human tracking. But like you said, technology is on its way where everybody in some way is being tracked, whether it's through your iPhone, whether it's through signing in to Google with your email address, and then you got to sign into everything with your Google address. Everybody is being surveilled in some way or another. And I think this initial idea was just the first way that we started talking about it.
I'm still here, Sade. I'm fixing my
I hear you. Yeah, and I think, the video that we watched was an interesting. It's like when you start talking about conspiracies, there's like these poles. There's you could go to the very extreme, or you could live in realism. And while I think this conspiracy theory has some truth to it, I don't think it has anything to do with those damn birds. I think, like you said, you raise pigeons. I seen a bird.
Yeah.
Birds steal my food off the track when I'm walking on the track. I've been to the beach and a seagull done jacked me. So I know that birds are real, but I'm saying that this conspiracy theory is just kind of like a springboard into what is actually happening with us.
My apologies for that. Yeah, I asked your mom when we was going to school one day. We seen seagulls come down and snatch. So grandma used to give me and your mom 35 cents in the morning to get a glazed donut walking to school.
I remember them donuts.
Yes. You get 50 cents, you get a twister.
Oh.
Yes. Yes. This when we was living on Patterson Park, whatever, right? Mm-hmm. Anyway, we was walking to school and a daggone seagull came down, snatched Shorty donut. It was crazy.
They did that.
Yeah, and he was with his mom. So the government must have been hungry, but like we know that birds can be vicious, right?
Yeah.
You touch up on something that, not to really take it off of the topic, but when you talked about like the tip of the iceberg with these drones, and when you really think about the history of open surveillance, right? How they codified it into law was after 9/11.
It was.
You know what I'm saying? And Big Brother and needing more access, and war on terror, and all those slogans that we became familiar with after the tragedy that happened in 9/11.
Yeah.
We could get into, was it the government? Who was it? A so-called friendly state, and we let the whatever, right? But after that, they introduced legislation and passed it, and now we got Big Brother and surveillance, and we kind of like, even
it's
when we
normal.
with these apps, exactly. We got all these smartphones with these apps, and we don't even read anything. We just clicking okay. So now when I'm talking about golfing, I open up my phone sending me golf ads. The key thing of it, commercially is like, all right, we create this database on things we may think you like, and we hear you talking, so we just try to market it to you. But the behind the scenes, the dark side of that is that the same information is they're using that's the surface stuff. When you mention golf clubs, they try and sell you golf clubs.
Exactly. But you think it's a marketing ploy, but they're actually selling your data to companies. They're selling your data to people that it could be beneficial to.
And they building a profile on you as well.
Yep.
And it's based on whatever you search, whenever you get horny at night and you play with your phone and do other things, all these things, right? Create a profile about you. And then it's based on what other people do too. So they can come up with statistics, people that do this, that, and the third, eat this late and eat certain food and watch certain type of porn, the likelihood of them doing this, that, and the third, based on all the data, because they analyze the data. They analyze you, create a profile, and they analyze the data as a whole. You know what I'm saying? When they compare to people. And then when it comes to AI, why do you think AI knows so much? You said talk to AI, right? And get jazzy with it. Start speaking slang. It'll speak a little bit of slang, known slang, based on how people talking on TikTok and Instagram back at you. That's always based on all the information they gather. We're teaching AI.
It's gathering information from not only what you ask of it, what you input of it, I asked my ChatGPT a question about my mom, and ChatGPT knew that my mom was a hairstylist.
Hmm.
How did it know that information? Where did it get it from?
When you
But
click
I mean,
OK,
exactly. It speaks to this like scary state that we're in right now where we're all being surveilled. I have a friend who just got her Ring camera subpoenaed in a murder case because her Ring camera may have heard what happened on the street where a murder took place. Like it's
you know,
we live in a constant surveillance state, and it's starting to get a little scary.
now like you can't delete anything, right? So now, like think about when the feds came and got Diddy, right? And they was looking for those computers. And it's not
Mm-hmm.
necessarily what he may had on there, but it's also the stuff that you delete. Now, I
Yep.
don't really understand that technology. I'm pretty sure it's a simple Google search, right? But they could go in there and still get the stuff you deleted, right?
Yep.
Now with all this cloud-based software, right?
Yep. That's where the
Every
yep.
time you take a picture, every time, even when you delete it, this stuff goes to that database about you and gets collected because it just tracks your whole life, right? It goes into that, so it's nothing is never deleted. So just like when you said the subpoena, like with those Ring cameras, that's cloud based. So
It
yeah,
is.
they had subpoenaed it, but if behind the scenes is a Trojan horse in there where they could just grab it behind the scenes, and that
I'm
goes
sure
to
they
the
just told her because of
database.
some legal reason. But I mean, they probably didn't even have to come to her to get that information from her. You're right.
Yeah, I mean, but that's the police avenue of it. But like maybe the
Right.
deep state, they did just pull it
Yeah.
easily. Like we
Yeah.
the same people who could spy on whole other countries.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And tell you what somebody ate for breakfast, but it all goes down to like, just profiling, being able to predict your next move, right? I'm gonna take this a little further, right? When we talk about the stuff that we search, right? And how with this moving forward, you mentioned the software company Palantir, right?
Palantir.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Nvidia,
Yep.
Sophie, all these different companies and just the technology and AI, that's the way of the future, right?
Yeah,
One
the
big
biggest
thing
investment growth that if you invested in them, you know
I
why
am.
they're growing.
I did
You
actually
know why
did.
they're growing so
I
much.
got I got I think I got like
Yeah,
22 Nvidias. Like
I
I'm
got a couple
yeah,
of videos.
yeah, I
You
mean
know,
sure.
I know it's
Sophie, I got
it's
like
surveilling us, but it's a lucrative. This is why it's so important to talk about because it's also becoming a way that people grow income. I'm sorry to cut you off.
mhm.
Go ahead.
No, you're fine. Definitely we could talk about that too. That's another thing I'm about to start doing calls and puts moving forward and just trying to do different things other than just waiting for the market to drop to be able to buy shares and stuff like that and
Mm-hmm.
try to learn how to make money when it's going sideways, but whatever. Um, but anyway, right? Back
Mm-hmm.
to how we teach AI.
Mm.
We teach AI about all the shit we search, the questions we ask.
It's learning.
And when we sitting there talking to ChatGPT, we thinking we searching stuff, and we are teaching it about us. So I said all that to say, right? I did a video, and I did it a while ago. It was on TikTok, and it's talking about how they're building surrogate moms, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're able to incubate babies, human babies, right, in the womb and give birth. And like that's going to be like one way forward, right? And we know that we mastered cloning, right?
Yeah, we all
We
know
started
Dolly.
like to get what's the when you have a baby that's inside of the fetus, those
In vitro.
yes, and they use that to regenerate cells and create different body parts and stuff like
Yep.
that. That's what they was doing with aborted fetuses and stuff, getting those embryos or whatever, not embryos. I forgot the term.
Stem
Forgive me.
cells.
Yes, stem cells. Correct. That's what I was looking for. And using those. So like one way to get them, it was making clones and using stem stem cells from clones to do all the experiments. But here is illegal. But other places it's not. It's not illegal in space either on the space station. It's a lot of reasons why we move the way we move, right?
Mm.
You see what I'm saying? To be able to still do stuff and operate outside of the laws that we got in place here. like dark sites and stuff like that, which are real. But you got that, right? One thing, a man can have all the money in the world, right? You can be rich, you got all the wealth, but what do we don't have? Eternal life, right?
Right.
All this kind of tie into the Sumerian tablets to a certain degree, the Bible, Bereshit, Bara, Elohim, Hat, Shemayim, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, it all ties into there. I always say 8 wrong. It's not really. It's like,
You start speaking in tongues.
yeah. But no, I was saying in the beginning, God created the
I'm just kidding.
heavens and earth, right? But
Mhm.
this in Genesis though, like when you get into all that, right, and where
Yeah.
that story came from, the some parts of it, rather, not all of it. When you talk about what they did back then, when they made man after them and gave him a certain essence, right, from a being that was
Yeah.
already here, blah blah blah, right? And one can, if you really wanted to, interpret the creation story that way if you wanted. But let's just act like these were some we was those people with the limitations put on them, that we only could live 120 years, right? Nothing past that, right?
Yeah.
And imagine us understanding that and understanding the history of the earth, and they got us sitting here playing with religion and our sexuality and violence and baddies or whatever, just anything to keep us occupied, while they understanding the history of the earth and where we come from. They trying to reverse that so we can outside, because why is it so important to look into outer space? Even if we seen a big ass comet coming, we couldn't stop it. They wouldn't tell us either. But we're trying to get back to something, right? Is a reason why we out here searching, not just, but we know it's other planets
Right.
we can live on,
Or
you know what I
discover
mean?
something that we saw
like-
a smidgen of.
Right?
down
Or we
here.
trying to change our essence to be able to live somewhere else, based on, you know what I mean? But anyway, right?
Which makes a lot of sense, actually.
Yeah, but now let's move into AI. See, these things connect, right? So now we understand everything, right? We know what we are. We understand the limitations put on us. However, we could create machines and our own beings that we put our own essence into, and these things are the next step to take us further.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So now, sort of like the movie Avatar, where we could
Have
take.
you seen the 3 body problem? Have you ever heard that?
No, I mean,
It's a show that's on Netflix, and it talks about this specifically. It talks
Yeah.
about how this race of humans that are on the earth are being contacted by another race that are, they are a bunch of light years away, but they're telling us, we know how to save your planet. You have to learn how to accept the alien life forms that are about to come and take over the planet. But just know we have to get rid of the human race in order to save the planet. I just think it's called the 3 body problem. It's on Netflix, and I think you would like it because it touches on some of those things. Not to cut you off.
You know what's
just really
crazy?
think about it.
Right?
Yeah.
It's crazy you said that, right? Because this conversation just took a turn.
It is.
No, that's
We need-
fine.
we need a
That's
conspiracy
fine. That's
theory.
fine.
That's what we need.
It's all on. This is fine. When you even think about that, right? So like, I'm gonna jump around a little bit. Think about the human race, right? Think about the different types of humans it is, right? And we talk about evolution and all these different things,
Yeah.
right? What you're seeing now, where you got whole different ethnic groups created through conquest from Eurasians going across the planet. You got like the whole, like, think about Spanish people in Mexico, right? Think
Mhm.
about us, black people, the transatlantic slave trade, the black people in Brazil, like, and we're not the same, but we are the same, but we a
Yeah.
different admixture that became whole new ethnicities, right? Think
Yeah.
about if we was here that long, wouldn't this already happen? We wouldn't have no distinct groups like white people, Chinese people, Japanese people, black people. We'll already be like somewhere in the middle as a fixed race of humanity.
Mhm.
So that speaks to how long we really been here, or how long other people been here. You see what I'm saying? And now it's happening, and now you're getting different admixtures and having whole new fixed ethnicities based on that, right? And with that being said, that just lets you know how long humans been here, right? As a whole, and who seeded us here individually. Like, did we grow from this group to that group? Like, everything we thought we understood about Homo sapiens and all these different things has changed, especially like we want to discredit a lot of the ancient history that our ancestors, I'm talking about humanity's ancestors, not black or white, but this humanity in general. You know what I mean? All the information they left, we want to say it's myths, we want to equate it to gods, but like this is, you know what I'm saying? This is
I
people
know
telling us
exactly what you're
this
saying.
stuff they talking about literally out of space
And that's why they want to erase
and
it.
all these
because
different
they don't have
things.
to explore what the possibility is, like the conclusions that we can come to for ourselves after understanding the history of the human race, not just race. You know, I
Mhm.
think race is something that they just put out here as a ploy. So
But
that
like
we
you
can
said
define
though, now what if our evolution is us coming together? So let's say, all right, Panthers, right?
or
So
what our
like all
evolution
of
is
us, it's
experiencing
like
something. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, I was listening to you. No,
Go
I didn't
ahead.
want to cut your thought. No, just cut me off whenever. No, just think about it though. Like, what if people got their extremis, and I get people wanting to preserve whatever they want to preserve. This is not
Yeah.
me making a suggestion.
Okay.
That people do this, but I'm just saying,
Mhm.
like, what if our evolution is us coming together, creating? Think about genetics and how they work, right?
Mhm.
Typically, a mixed kid, whatever that means,
Whatever
but
that
for the sake
means.
of conversation, a mixed kid, right?
Mhm.
They get the best of both sides genetically, right? For the
Genetically.
most part.
Yeah.
And you can have any type of problems, but they get the best of both worlds genetically, right? Now you think about everybody coming together in that everybody got rid of all the recessive stuff, and boom. It's proven that certain things can be breeded out of the people because a lot of stuff was breeded out of us,
Yeah.
and stuff can be breeded into a people. Like, it's the truth. A lot of stuff was breeded out of us during our captivity.
Yeah. That's true.
I'm just saying, like, because it got to a
I'm
point where
not
it
disagreeing
was
with you at all.
easier to breed slaves than bring new niggas over here that was gonna fight.
I'm not
And
disagreeing with you at all.
looking at this and that, I want to put this together the same way we do pit bull puppies.
Yeah. But
No,
you
and we
also
see
see
what
the
we get
result. You also
with
see
trial and
sometimes
error.
you go
Yeah,
ahead.
and we'll add a little bit of Irish in there. We'll add a little bit of Scottish in there, whatever. And then the
Yeah.
German might get in there by mistake because somebody snuck and did some shit they wasn't supposed to do. Whatever, right? But like what you had mentioned about the three body.
It's called the 3-body problem.
Okay, so and then civilization reaching out to us is light years away, thousands or hundreds of light years away. Talking about the human race gotta die in order to save the planet, right?
Mm.
And that's because even if we went with that, that's because this planet is a living being. It's alive. And I can understand that, but like when we talk about oh, I know where I was going. I lost my train of thought. But let me just jump back a little bit to what I was talking about at first, right? When I was talking about AI and them and us looking out of space and us understanding our limitations here and trying to further mankind based on what we understand about our past, the information that we're being locked out of, right? We're being locked out of it. And let's say they are spying on us with different things, right? Because they know who we are, who all of us is, right? And so they got to keep a close eye on us because we got to keep people asleep. Think about anybody, any leader who was talking that outer space shit. Where they at now? They're gone. Prime example, Dr. Malachi Z. York. He been talking about the Sumerian tablets. Zechariah Stetson, rest in peace. He was I think he was Jewish or he was German. One of the two. He one of my favorite fucking guys, man. But these people was talking about this stuff a long time ago before it was popular. And they got him the fuck out of there. Dr. Zechariah Stetson died. Then they had a bunch of controlled opposition that came in and agreed and switched it up a little bit. Or, you start seeing more people who's more objective. Now, there's nothing wrong with listening to the other side because you need to hear it. But they try to dismiss what he's saying. And they bank on the fact that a lot of people are boggled down and they don't have no time to do no research at all. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, we just going to take out. We always taking somebody's word for it. But anyway, now, how do we live forever? I talked about the movie Avatar, them taking out essence and putting it in something else. And it's going to be similar to that when we do find different places that we can live, because anatomically we can't live everywhere. We can't. So like I seen flat earthers make the argument about, like when we be looking at different planets and we could tell what type of planet they are based on different lights and stuff and different gases, because how they react to different things. And we can say, oh, this planet is a gas planet based on this. And we talking about light years away. You know what I'm saying? And one reason why we look at things like that, well, the flat earthers was trying to make the argument that we can't really tell. But anyway, but the reason why we look at stuff like that, we trying to figure out where's the oxygen. Then we could tell there's life there. If it's a planet where they breathe oxygen, we can see the greenhouse effect from carbon dioxide, different things that our planet produce. If we see that happening there, we might need to go there. It might be some of us. We know. And the reason why they looking, because they know they're there. They're out there somewhere. We got record of it. You see what I'm saying? So now, how do we travel that far? Now, we go on the space station, right? We lose bone density. Immediately going in outer space, we get radiation poisoning and stuff like that from solar rays and stuff like that. You see what I'm saying? So we can't, the moon seemed like a simple thing, but it's really not. A moon base is not that simple. You get showered with radiation, and there's different levels to it, as though that you only be exposed to so much before it kills you.
Humans do not come back the same after space exploration.
Exactly. So now that is the challenge. That is the challenge. That is the conversation with all the people who want to live forever and got all this money and they want to live forever. So what do we do? Now we trying to marry the whole idea now, right? Is to try to understand the soul, the conscience, and all these different things that's been going on, right? Now, so but how do we marry? Exactly. So now we want to marry the body. We want to marry human biology with AI technology. With AI technology, you ain't got to worry about radiation in outer space. We ain't got to worry about losing bone density from not being able to, because for the lack of gravity, right, on a planet where, because like even that is a challenge, because based on the gravity, we're going to weigh more on different planets. There's a lot of things. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So these are challenges that people that want to live forever need to get over. So, all right, let's say we can marry the two together. So they had all right, I'm dragging it out a little bit too long. So look, they was talking about our memories and our thoughts, right? And let's say all this information we gathered about Larry. Let's use me. Jeremy Yahoo. We gathered all this stuff. He watched Pornhub. He played basketball. He liked to lift weights. He eats cereal at 12 o'clock in the morning. I'm just saying, we take all this information, right? Everything we know about him. Boom, 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 boom. This person died. He did this. He graduated, right? And then now we take all the memories, all your memories, and we put them in a being. This being becomes you, right? This being becomes you, and now this being picks up right there where the eyes open up. Boom! It don't know that it's awake, but it's awake. It's here, and it knows it got to go to work the next day. It got rent due, mortgage due, car payment. Got to cut the grass, take the trash out. It knows everything it's supposed to do from this point forward, and it operates as you. It has all your memories, even though it didn't personally experience it, but it has all your memories. So moving forward, it creates new memories on its day to day. How do that know that it's not the real you? Now, the biology is different. I got robot hands. I'm made out of titanium. I'm a heavy aluminum. I'm light, but I'm durable. And now I'm in outer space. Now I can travel light years. You get what I'm saying? So how do so now?
Who's to say that person isn't you? You're made up of that.
That's the whole point. Now it's two of you.
Yeah,
because it has the same memories. Now Elon Musk, right? He wanted to put that chip in people's brain, right? Oh, yeah. Remember that he wanted to put that chip in people's brain, and it'll help you solve. It'll help you see better, and you can say, "Hey, Meta," you know what I'm saying? And you can do a Google search and then play the shit in your head. But what if this is a way that we understand the brain that much and all the synapses and all these different things, and we
Yeah.
could put a chip on the brain, like putting a part on the fucking car, like souping up an engine, right? So you mean tell me we understand the way the brain works and how memory works, and this side of the brain controls that. One side of your brain is dormant for whatever reason, blah blah blah. We
Right.
gotta understand all that. Don't you think we are able to, if we could snatch all those memories, right, under the guise of a chip and helping you, if we could
Yeah.
snatch all that information,
Mhm.
and we could do exactly what I said before. If we take that information and put it into something else, and henceforward it is you when it comes online, is you, and everything afterward is it makes its own memories. Who's to tell it it's not you?
Right, but I think what you're, I mean, talking a little bit more about the Neuralink, I think that's the dilemma. I think a lot of we are at a point in the human race where we're trying out all of these technologies because the surveillance, the watching, the data gathering, the information hoarding, that is the first step in starting to develop this consciousness that can be transmutable or transferable, because like you said, we're not going to be able to sustain life on this planet much longer. So it's like, what is the next step in the human race? And it seems like the artificial intelligence, the transmuting our consciousness, is the next viable step. It starts with the birds aren't real. It starts with the constant surveillance, because we have to understand how the human race operates in order for us to get to that point.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
Like you brought it. All right, I'm gonna jump back on the topic now. What's the name? But like even with the birds aren't real, and you know, like you said, it's the tip of the iceberg. But
It's just
so
the
one
beginning.
thing was like just to address the birds charging on the line,
Oh
the
God.
power lines. Well, I know a little tiny bit just being in the trades. I understand AC and DC, direct current and alternating currents.
Right.
Right. In order for something to charge, it has to be converted from AC to DC. The voltage in the power lines are AC. That's alternating currents, right?
Yeah.
And it has to be converted with a rectifier to DC, and then something else, but to kind of smooth it out so it could be a smooth transition and lower the voltage to a safe level for a charge, right? In order to run through these machines. Now, wireless charging, right? Because this would have to be some form of wireless charging, because their claws are not cutting through the wire. So it's like we're on it, we make the contact. So if the bird, they have these coils, right? That you had to convert it, the magnetic, excuse me. Let me say this right, because we're on the internet. People come after. But
you're the expert.
They got to put the energy. It's like it was talking about the way these phones work with these wireless chargers is like some magnetic field, right? That sends it out in a coil, and the phone or whatever is receiving this energy, this wireless energy, will have to have a receiving coil that are then converted to DC, DC, to be able to charge and store it in the battery. Then you think about a bird in the size, they got to have all that stuff built into the feet, the coil, the receiving coil. And it's not to say that we can't use like fiber optics or nothing like that. It's not impossible, right?
Yeah, but I mean,
but it's just not. And the mechanics of a bird flying. Now we get it. It's just them flapping their wings, but it's a lot of mechanics to that, and that would require a lot of energy because the weight of the bird and the size of the battery and the equipment that it had to carry.
Of course, yeah. I mean, I think we both agree that this theory or conspiracy theory that the birds are the surveillance mechanisms is just a misnomer. We are being surveilled. It's not the birds charging on the power lines, but instead it's all these other mechanisms in which we find, futile things we use in every day. Our phones, listening to everything we're saying, our Chat GPT, listening to all of the inquiries, and Google's listening to all the inquiries. Those are the surveillance mechanisms in which we are being monitored. Forget about the birds. They're real, but what we should be more concerned about is
Hmm.
these surveillance techniques. And I mean, should it be a method of concern, or is it just a way of the government trying to, I don't even want to say the government, I want to say the powers that be, trying to understand more about human life, human interaction, so that we can finally transition to this alternate piece where,
I
we're
think
more
the
than just a
sad thing about
biological
that,
structure.
I agree, and I think the sad thing about that, with them having all the leverage and all that stuff, like they get to pick and choose who get to participate.
Yeah.
I think that um our evolution as a human race is AI. Now the question is AI going to take us with us? So like you think about the Sumerian tablets, right? The Anunnaki or the Elohim, right? And that's Hebrew. They translate it as God, but it's literally the gods. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth was out form and void, or tohu vabohu, and God hovered over the waters. What's hovering? Now we keep talking about all these spaceships and stuff coming in and out of the waters, and maybe alien base.
The tic tac. The tic
Yeah,
tac.
yeah. But by our definition, you know, God would be an alien based on just that description right there. You
Right.
know, in the
Yeah.
Malakim, we think about little white people with bow and arrows and wings. Now the Malakim made out of fire with wings, and they got like there's just so much stuff going on, made of fire with swords and stuff like that. And this theme carries on, and when you get to the Indian Sanskrits and stuff like that, right? And then you can think about who these beings came in contact with, and you'll see the birth of civilization. And then you can see who these people had contact with and how technology went those different directions, right? Based on the contact from these beings or gods. And you think about people we consider as pagan to a certain degree based on their belief system or whatever rituals they practice, right?
Mhm.
And it's based on them having the least contact with the gods, or people who had contact with people who had contact with the gods.
Yeah. Mhm.
And the funny thing about these gods or the Nephilim and all this stuff, and God having sex with humans, like we gotta
Those
genetically be
words
the
came from
same.
somewhere.
We gotta genetically be the same to be able to have sex and have kids. And they're not sterile like a mural.
Yeah.
You see
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So like a lot of times that shit just be going over our head, and we not really processing what we're hearing, right? And that's what I'm saying. These are things that I think they know. They're not stupid. They're not telling us, because we need this machine, this illusion to work the way it works, right? A fish don't know it's in a fishbowl. When you're born, a fish born in a fishbowl don't know it's a fishbowl. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? And I think this bird topic took us to a deeper conspiracy
Yeah.
about just the Truman Show. What is God? Who are we? And what's the future? And AI and them marrying humanity into AI. And the reason why I went back to Sumerian tablets was, or the Bible per se, or any creation story, you got people who created us with a certain level of technology, right? I'm gonna just interpret
Mhm.
it this way. Take the spookism out of it. That created us a certain type of way from things that was already there, right?
Hmm.
And boom, they're not here. And we was made it in their likeness. And after that, you know what I'm saying? So think about even the way a computer works. Hardware, software, and hardware. And
Mhm.
now, and then think about how they was talking about like how the devil was jealous of Adam because he had the potential to be this, that, and the third. That's why we take the tree of life out of there so he won't live forever and get the knowledge of good and evil and all these different things, right?
Mhm.
And they are allegories and stuff like that. I'm gonna give you an example.
Yeah.
It's not really trees and stuff like that.
Mhm.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm gonna just throw this one out there because I'm gonna talk about this later. What does it mean when you say you know a tree by its fruit? We know a person by their actions. We're not talking about a fucking tree. It's an analogy. It's an allegory. So you see a
Mhm.
lot of allegory talk going on when you're talking about trees and a garden and things like that. You dig what I'm saying? But that's
Definitely.
we're gonna save that garden and Eden for another discussion, right? But
Yeah.
it's all
That's a good
allegory code talk. It's all
one. Mhm.
code talk, right? But but you had creation, you had man, you had woman, right? Now they're not here anymore. We don't see them, at least, right? That's just from what we can see. They're not here. We hope and pray and wish and all these different things, but they're not here. Now we're at a certain level where we understand how we work. That's why we could play with different things, and we can recreate artificial intelligence based on how, and we could give it all the information that we all gathered from the last 4,000 years of us being aware, 6,000 years of information. I'm gonna say 6,000 years of known information. We just dump it all in the AI. Ain't nothing that we can't ask it that it don't know. We essentially made a better being than ourselves.
Yeah.
Now, granted,
a better consciousness, because
it's collective.
Yeah.
Right. Now, collectively, as a human race, we know all this stuff, but not one person.
Not one person.
But we got it all in one place. We got it all in one place where we could just tip our fingers. Hey, what's this, that, and the third? Now, they control a lot of the information, so it's bias in it, right? It ain't unfiltered, but because, if we get rid of all books and we put all the information on the computer, we get to pick and choose what you know and don't know.
Yeah.
And books become a thing of the past. And then we can say, oh, that was mythology. You know what I'm saying? We can dismiss it because it's not on the computer. But you get what I'm saying. But
yeah,
let's take conversation, but all the information is there. And essentially we made a better being. We have evolved. That's going to be the next thing. When we create, like we already got the computers, and like think about like places like Amazon. You got the human element of Amazon, right? People calling out the night shift, fucking each other, stealing shit, all kinds of shit. We see it, they making TikToks, everything. Now we take the human element out of it and have robots because they can scan barcodes, drive, put it on a conveyor belt, boom. Thank you for this job, right? Now we eliminate the human element. We don't have to worry about nobody calling out. We don't got to worry about no snow blizzard, this, that, and the third. Cars and trucks can drive themselves and plow snow if we put a damn bucket on the front of it. You see what I'm saying?
And that's what I think that the real reason for AI being how it is and where it is today is one, automation, like you're talking about right now, but then like that second consciousness that we're talking about. I think it has dual purposes. It's two things.
Absolutely.
And we have to understand that right now where it is in that automation phase, but where we're going is that consciousness and evolution phase. Go ahead.
Right. Yeah, it's like, for instance, right? Like, and when if they could do that, they could create that assembly line, eliminate the humans, right? And what's not to say that they don't make an assembly line where they make themselves?
Yeah.
And boom, that's it. But like you said, it's a dual purpose, right? No different than I seen a video, and I want to talk about this again. It was along the lines where they was using making surrogate moms with the robots. We seen I seen the video. The boxing robot is boxing a little boy and really moving around. When I saw the robots dancing, I'm like, oh yeah, it's too late. If it can dance, it can fight.
They can dance, they can fight.
That's when like they show all those movies with the robots, their eyes be green and they happy, then it turn red. And it's like you gonna get your ass. And it's that. It's that. You know what I'm saying? So like people be happy, like look at the robot, and I'm like, nah. Like they got it. Then they show them climbing up side of mountains and shit, doing flips. I'm like, dude, they gonna come for you and take your guns.
Yeah,
and when
talking to each other.
And it's like even like movies like the Terminator and stuff like that. Like this shit can be a real thing. So I mean, I don't know. I think human evolution is going to ultimately be AI and leaving this planet. When we accept. So all right, let me take it back just a little bit. I think what's going on behind the scenes, and this is my conspiracy theory. I think what's going on behind the scenes is that we already got this technology, right? But what we're trying to understand is we already took somebody's memories and put it into something else with the person still here. And set them in the same room and watch the reaction, right?
Interesting.
And and we're trying to see, like, is the new being really that person? Because it's important to us because we want to do that with us. We want to close our eyes and wake up in the new thing. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Can we take our brain and put it in? We done tried everything. We done kill people, put brains in equipment and try to cut it on and it didn't work.
But
We
human
done took
brains, emotions,
memories.
we
We
tried
took,
everything.
yeah, so we try to create our own brain and put the memories of it and boom, now we got the new one and the old one looking at each other. All right, how about we kill the old one and it's put in the new one and see how is this new one new? And let's ask him about himself based on everything we know about the original that's dead. Like we done did all these things. Now we is trying to figure out, like, moving forward, how do we really put ourselves in this AI so we can leave
Right.
or
In this
become the gods?
biological form so that we can expand or evolve the human race. Yeah.
Yeah, and then we already understand nuclear energy and power. We got
Mhm.
nuclear subs and stuff like that. Like we even dibbled and dabbled with the idea of maybe just to get to Mars, hitting a nuclear reactor on a rocket and being able to travel back and forth. Because one issue would be still different type of fuel, the solid or the liquid, to propel
Mhm.
us to a different planet, right? And do it at a speed that we won't run out of gas. So like it's so many different factors. Like how do we do that? But even if things take time, how do we you know live and be able to get from point to B, point A to point B, and still be able to be get on the other side of everything and be there. You know, one idea is to create different ships that are spin and rotate, create their own type of gravity, so we won't lose bone density and stuff like that. We get somewhere, we get on the planet, and the gravity different, and 100 pounds is 300 pounds, and we don't got no more bone density. We get out and our legs snap because of the
Yeah.
gravity.
Mhm.
So it's just so many things. I think that's the goal. I think we're trying to get back. And I don't know if you ever seen, and it ain't just black people talking about outer space, you know, it's white people too. Like they talking
Yeah,
about they
that's
from the
everybody.
Pleiades and all these. It's like I listen to that shit. They might sound crazy to people who ain't hip. They don't sound crazy to me. You can't
Yeah.
sit and talk about you believe in God, somebody that's coming from outer space. It literally
Yeah.
says that people when it says Barashik bara Elohim at Hashemayim. It's talking when it's talking about Shemayim, it's talking about the heavens. The heavens is outer space. It's not talking about no fucking place you go when you die. That's
Right.
later on.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know if you ever seen
The original thought is
Lovecraft
that.
Country. There was this episode that said it was called I Am Hippolyta, and her whole character arc was her experiencing the afterlife through like cosmic exploration, like where she could go to these interdimensional worlds because she
Wow.
unlocked a way to travel through space by like with her biological form. And I think like that's just like the first that's just the first step.
You just opened up a whole nother can of worms with that.
Oh my god, we
And
need to talk about that. We
you
do.
because like that is so think about when you go to sleep. Like think about people that do mushrooms and stuff like that. Your fucking cousin, my son, he say I think he do mushrooms and try to document, he try to control his dreams and what he do in his dreams, right?
Mhm.
And he was for a while, he was document the things he was doing and try to remember them and go back and pick up where he left off in certain things.
That's cool.
And my personal experiences with, like, I could fly. I learned how to fly a long time ago. And sometimes I have dreams where I go to a different place. And sometimes I be trying to the way life have it, I don't have time to write all these things down, but like I learned how to fly. It's like and this is not, it might sound crazy, but like I know I know I'm there and I'm like in like different cities, like it's weird, and I jump and it's like I fly. It's like I jump and fly. I can't explain it, but when I became aware that I could do it, I do it all the time, and it's the way I travel when I'm in these places, and it
Mm.
feels so real. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like I don't know what it is. Like sometimes I take melatonin so I can sleep all night,
Mhm.
and the kind I got now, I have vivid dreams. I get to go to these places, and
Mhm.
I'll take 2 melatonin dissolvable joints and hope that I get to go do whatever it is I'm doing in this different plane.
Mm.
Now, before that, I visit these different planes before. You see what I'm saying? Where I've
Yeah.
seen people that we lost.
Yeah.
And I want to just wash it away to my mind is putting all these things together. I had regular dreams. I think there's a difference. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm physically doing stuff. And like I just think it's something to that. And I think we really don't understand what's going on around us. It really sparked my interest, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because of this. And I bought some new books. Quantum Physics for Beginners.
Mm-hmm.
What else I got? All this spaceship. I can look on my Amazon list, but you really gotta go back to 1 + 1 = 2, right?
Yeah.
And understanding math and get into all the different I got quantum physics and physics, right? And I had got pre-calculus and stuff like that because like all this stuff ties in together, like MC² and all this stuff, like that shit matters. Like yo,
The way of the world.
but this is us trying to understand matter, like the periodic table, all the different dark matter. Like
Yeah.
yo, here's the thing. Why do you think it's important to keep niggas and poor white people or poor people in general dumbed down? Imagine if we had the time, right, and the resources and the education, because we got the minds, right, and the education to really focus on these things,
Yeah.
right?
And
We
understand
would,
that.
yes, what I'm saying, and that's our destiny. And then we could understand this, the ancient scripts and stuff like that. That's our destiny. But I think all the way things are is intentional. It's intentional. You see what I'm saying? To keep us dumbed down and fighting because they're free to dibble and dabble and take the best minds that they handpick from everywhere, right? So they could try to live forever or get in all the things that we're talking about. They already know what works with the scientific method. When you do so many things, you know, the hypothesis and all that stuff, they know all the stuff. They tried everything. They know what works, what don't works, where we are. We need a brain to bring us here, get us past this one hurdle to get us on the other side that we could completely unlock this and understand it and be there, and they will gatekeep it.
Mm.
But if we keep everybody, so if you one of them people like you, real smart, broke through the noise. So let's get you and put you in front of people, take you to this place, take you to this country, right? Because you're a handpicked person because you broke through that. Even all the shit that we put in front of you to fuck you up, you broke through that. So we're gonna see we watching you because we're gonna use you later. We're gonna pitch you, we're gonna pull you in later. We watch him doing on movies. Some teacher, he's a geek, and now we need him to save the world.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So like it's not a far-fetched thing. But think about if we understand, because this is not, if you go on YouTube, right? It's people in this controlled opposition, and there's bullshit. You got to separate the wheat from the tare, right?
Yeah.
But it's people and they're giving similar stories and trying to understand these things, right? Everything we talked about.
Yep.
The thing is, imagine having all the time to connect the dots. Imagine
just
having
worry about struggling, being in poverty. You don't have to worry about going
exactly. And now we can sit there and put our brains together and figure this shit out. And then we unlock the next thing. And we're there, but they want to gatekeep it because they understand it. Yeah. I think that's what it is. The end goal is living forever. And it's in the Bible. I ain't gotta go back that far. Sumerian tablets. It's in the Bible.
Yeah.
I think one day we're gonna look into the Hebrew script and we're gonna fucking go in, we're gonna look at the Sumerian tablets and we're gonna have a short conversation about it and just about it. But it's just so much. It's so much, and I think a lot of this shit is really real. And call me a weirdo, whatever.
I don't think you
weird.
Just a little bit.
Yeah. But it's we gotta moving forward. We gotta study. The languages. And when we learn it, we gotta look past the bullshit they tell us and how they want us to interpret things. You got to be able to interpret everything for yourself. That's why you got to learn about physics. Like, what's the dude who played in Hustle and Flow? Terrence Howard.
Yeah,
Terrence Howard, right? And he kicked up a whole lot of dust when he was talking about 1 times 1 don't equal 1. It got to equal 2.
Mhm.
And it was this big thing where all the fucking nerds came out because, you know, I watched it. I didn't understand what the fuck was going on. I was just like, yeah, keep talking that shit. I don't know what y'all talking about. I'm mad. I'm dumb as shit. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just like, the thing is, imagine a lot of brains. I didn't know he was that smart. To as though he
Yeah, I think-
understood. They did not understand what he was saying. He understood everything they were saying, but they was like locked into their scientific method. And I can't say if he was right or wrong. But the point is, when you bring other minds to the table with different concepts, and that's how we unlock different dimensions of information and fucking move forward.
Yeah, it sounds crazy to you because you never thought about it that deeply.
There's a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
They made a square wheel before we had a round one. We had to throw the whole wheel away. If we would have still been trying to use that square wheel, if that makes any sense, we wouldn't have got anywhere.
Yeah.
So everything I don't know, man. Look,
Everything start off as something unbelievable until somebody presents some information to you that's believable or connects to your real life. Just like we started talking about with these goddamn birds charging on these lines. It start off for something unbelievable, and it starts to resonate in your life in a way that makes perfect sense if you care or take the time to delve into the details like we just did. And I think that wraps up a perfect episode. I feel like this episode was really great exploration of the importance of listening to people's conspiracy theories, because it ain't all that crazy. It ain't all that crazy.
And then just make you think about it. You know, like it's not necessarily like they can put some shit in birds, but like the stuff that we was looking at, we didn't look at the whole video.
Yeah,
it could definitely be birds.
Yeah, y'all looking past the point, focusing on the birds.
Yeah. Well, thanks for watching this episode. This is episode 3, ain't it?
Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah, it's episode me too, man. We catch y'all next week, man. Thanks for watching.